Hey everyone. All right, so I wanted to do another live video with you guys, and I have a friend who actually asked me if I could Photoshop something for her. She's trying to decide on a new deck for the front of her house. So she has a sample here, which is awesome, and she wants to know if that sample is going to look okay when it's up against the front of her house. So she took a picture of her deck and the Trex sample, and she said, can you just kind of Photoshop this in? And I said, yeah, sure, I'll totally do that. Can I make it a live video for my students? And she was like, yeah, I don't care. So I figured this would be something interesting to show you how to do. And honestly, this is very, very similar to some work that I used to do for Benjamin Moore when I worked for them. I was constantly putting together patterns in Photoshop so that way people could do things like this. They could see what flooring would look like in their house and it would add the flooring in, or they could see what a paint color would look like or wallpaper would look like on the walls of their house. So these are types of things that honestly would you would do as a job. So I really wanted to show you guys this. So, and she was like, do you need more photos? And I was like, nah, I'll just totally make it work from what you have here. So you can see that they gave her a really small sample. So what I'm gonna try to do is I'm actually going to make the pattern first by copying this. So I just wanna grab the Trex sample. I'm going to copy it. So Command-C, edit copy, and bring it over into a new document. And paste it in. And then once I have it in this new document, I'm actually going to make this document 4 times the size that it is. I know that seems weird, but you'll see why in a minute. So I want to go up to canvas size, and I currently have it's about 4.6 by 2.6. So so 9 and 5.2. All right, so I'm gonna make my width 9 and my height 5.2, and you'll notice that I changed the anchor to be the top left. It's because I want the original to stay in the top left corner of my screen. All right, and I'm going to make 4 copies of this total. Actually, before I do that, I'm gonna actually straighten it out a little bit. So even though it's not straight on the original, it will be straight in my pattern. So Command-T, just go into the regular old transform, and you just want to get it somewhere where right about here. Right about here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to crop this or delete out. Normally I would tell you to use a layer mask and stuff like that, but for this example, I'm not going to. I'm going to just select the inverse here Where are you? This is what I get for not, here we go, for not using quick keys. All right. And then I'm gonna start to Photoshop in and make this one piece as best as I can. And I might need to possibly break these two pieces up just to make it a little bit easier. Because you can see where the green should connect, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. Is I'm going to try to connect the green there as best as I can. So I am going to use the clone stamp tool for this. I'm going to start maybe right here. I'm going to try to follow the pattern as best as I can. Bring it up there. And then the same with this. I'm going to try to follow the pattern, but I'm actually going to put a bounding box so I don't go outside of this area. And again, I'm going to just try to follow the pattern. And the same with over here. I might need to manipulate this a little bit. And bring in, connect those. And connect this. So I used to do a lot of work, like I said, for Benjamin Moore, doing this, making different patterns that would be loaded into our program that we had. So I have quite a bit of experience doing this. And you always have to be careful about the haze, which you can see I have a little bit of a haze right there, so I'm just going to bring that down. And where this is going to be a wood pattern, it's okay that, you know, I only have one plank. And especially where it's for my friend and it's not actually for work. What I would do if it was for like a real, you know, a real job, to make it as realistic as possible, is I would actually take the different planks and I would layer them so they would be stacked differently. And I can kind of show you that. We'll see how we're doing for time. I'm going to bring this down to here. Right Again, I'm just trying to kind of connect the wood grains in what's as believable as a pattern as I can make. And this is where knowing those, you know, Photoshop tools and the right tool for the job really does come in handy. And understanding, you know, how to use the clone stamp tool. I use the clone stamp tool a lot for things like this. I just find that for me, it feels like the best tool, you know, kind of in my toolbox. I will say it is a lot easier to do rug, like carpets, than it is to do hardwood or even, Trex, which is kind of like that, like a fake wood. All right, so I'm just not 100% happy with right there. And sometimes I like to bring down the opacity and just kind of bring it over a little again, so it doesn't look like, oh, here's where the first one clearly ended. You can so see. There we go. And then once I have this stacked, you know, I was saying how you can make basically a couple of wood pieces. So what I might actually do, which I think will make it a little bit more realistic, is turn this into the two pieces. I'm going to show you how to do that. So let's grab this one more time. The new one that we fixed. Make sure I always like to make sure I'm like right to the pixel so I don't get that pixel haze that can happen. And I'm going to copy this. Modify my selection. There we go, that's fine. And bring this one more time into a new document. Oh, come on. And what you need to do is you need to say edit, copy merged, so it'll grab both of the layers. I was like, that's not right. Neither is that. Come on. Afraid it didn't grab both layers, so I'd probably have to make a new document one more time. There we go. All right. Perfect. Close that one because it's not right. All right, so my canvas size now is, and this is where like some math comes into this, and I always have to write it down. So 4.319 and 2.208. Okay. So 4.319 divided by 2 is equal to a very large, not a very large number, but a whole lot of decimal points. I'm going to go with 2.16. I think that is fine. And then 2.208 is going to be 1.104. And the reason why I want to know this is that's where I'm going to put my guides to break this in half first. So I want to turn on my info. I don't think I have this open. For when I'm bringing down my guides, I want to bring the first one down to 1.104, I believe, right? No. Yeah, 1.104. And I'm watching at the Y coordinate right there in my info, 1.104, there it is. And I'm going to bring the other guide over to 2.216. And that should be the middle, or 2.16, sorry. Perfect. All right, so this is where I'm going to start breaking things. And the way I'm going to break this is I am actually going to, again, do one more 4 up. So canvas size, 4.319 times 2. Go write this one down, 8.638, and then 2.208 by 2 is equal to 4.416. So this is why you need math. Whenever you have to take those math courses and you're like, why do I have to take a math course though? Seriously, I said the same thing until I had my big Photoshop job. 8.638 by 4.416. Okay, all right, perfect. And it left those there. So, accidentally hit tab, there we go. So now I'm going to grab this section right here. Oh, I hate the way that they've kind of changed this, not gonna lie. And I'm gonna paste it over here where you're gonna say that doesn't make any sense because it doesn't match. That's fine. This is fine. And then I am going to grab this section, whoops, wrong layer. This layer. I'm going to grab this whole section right here. And I'm going to do a paste in place. And I want it to be a little bit off. So it's staggered differently. Grab this. And place that right there. Then what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to add a bevel in between. So I'm going to go to Bevel and Emboss. And I want an emboss, but I just want it very, very subtle. And down. Just like that. I'm gonna, once I get it right, I'm gonna add that. To the others. And then I need to check this layer. possibly move those above. Because remember how it was a little bit off? It's still a little bit off. And move this in. It's going to be off just a smidge, but that's okay. And then I'm going to crop this. Transform my selection. I don't know why they changed the way that the selection, transformation, and the crop tool works. I hate it. I'm not gonna lie. All right, I'm gonna say crop. And I'm going to make this a pattern. So going up to Edit, Define Pattern, and I'm going to call it Trex Deck, and say OK. And you can test your pattern. So what I like to do is usually I'll make, before I put it on the actual photo that I'm going to use it on, I'll actually make just like an 8.5 by 11 and say Edit Fill and choose my pattern and double check that it looks right. That something weird hasn't happened. I'm getting a little bit of, I thought that might happen. I'm getting some hazing. See, that was that hazing I was talking about right there. If your pixels are just a little bit off. So I'm gonna need to crop this in just a bit more. See that, just how that dark right there is just a little bit off. And just like a pixel off right there. Oh, what on earth is up with these selection tools? All right. So I'm going to remove those pixels. So I'm going to do image crop again. And I'm going to need to make it a pattern one more time. So Edit, Define Pattern. I'm going to say Trex Deck New. And again, I'm going to say Edit Fill. Grab the new one. Oh, it's still giving me that haze. Man, that's annoying. Oh, I know why. It's because of the bevel and emboss. That is why. I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. I know how to fix it. I'm going to have to flatten this first and then get rid of the bevel on that side. So let me do where's my history panel? Because there's no need to have cropped it that many times. That would be why. All right, so I am going to go to layer. I'm going to flatten this, and this will get rid of the effect that I had there. And then I can crop it. I would have gone back and forth a couple of times. Like, man, that is just so weird that it keeps doing that. And you can see how just 2 pixels being off, like how it gives you that illusion that is just not correct at all. This is still going to drive me a little batty, but again, it's okay. And I'm going to say edit or image crop. Hopefully this will do it this time. Edit, define pattern, Trex 3. I have to go in there and delete all these after. And then we'll do an edit fill. Grab that third one. And that got rid of that haze. There we go. It's still a little, you know, wishy-washy. Like I would have had to have needed more planks. You know, you can definitely see the pattern. But it takes care of it. So now to put it in, what I'm going to do is I'm going to mask out the area that I need. But it might be a little bit easier. I'm going to definitely need to mask out the area I need, but I'm also going to need to place it in and then, you know, kind of transform it so it looks like it is laying on at the right angle. So probably the easiest thing to do would be to mask that part out and remove it first. So I'm going to do that. Again, using my quick mask tool that we went over for a bit yesterday. And because this area is pretty easy to select, I'm going to just use the lasso tool and do an edit fill to mask it out quickly, because it's a lot of just, you know, kind of straight lines here. I always like to go far outside of it, so that way I don't miss any like random pixels against the edge. And I'll need to get rid of that one too. And fill that. And remove that with a layer mask. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a new layer and put it underneath. And I'm actually going to not fill the whole background. Just this area. I'm going to do an edit fill. Again, grab my the last pattern, because that's the one that's as correct as we're going to get with 2 planks. It looks so small, but yeah. we didn't have a lot to work with. I can actually make it a little bit bigger. It's gonna get a little low res. But what I want to do is holding down my command key, you'll notice that it goes from the 2 arrows to the 1 white arrow, and this is how I'm going to start to skew this so it looks like it's laying in the correct direction. Bring that down. And you have some lines that you can follow because, you know, perspective really is everything. So you want to follow kind of the basic line of the house and the mat. And make sure that you have it as close as you can get it, because once, you know, you hit the enter key and you say, yep, this is good, you're not going to get the original bounding box that you had to work with. It can make it a little bit difficult. So I'm trying to get that line. We need to pull this way, honestly. I have to keep zooming out and zooming in because I expanded it first, if you're wondering why I'm doing that. There we go. It takes some work to get it right, to get the perspective right. I think the left side needs to come down just a smidge more. And I think we're good. I think that's it. All right, there we go. We put some new deck on her house, so hopefully she'll like the color, and she'll be happy with it. She's trying to figure out if it's too light next to the house, so hopefully that'll help make that decision. All right, thanks guys for all of you who were able to make it to the live video today. Have an awesome afternoon.